this week politics should be heating up, Kun Thepchai.
That's right. So this probably will be the first time in months that politics will occupy the front page, most likely starting this Wednesday when the 3 royal decrees will be put before the House of Representatives to be debated by MPs. These decrees are related to the government's plan to borrow huge sum of money in order to help the country weather through this very difficult period. Of course, I mean, the critics, especially opposition politicians, have a lot of reservations about the merits of these 3 bills.
Yeah.
So they would want to take this opportunity to look at these 3 decrees in details. And take a quick look at what these 3 decrees are about, Kunatha.
Yes, the first one, Royal Decree authorizing Finance Ministry to seek 1 trillion loan to address economic and social issues. And the second one, Royal Decree authorizing Bank of Thailand and Finance Ministry to establish 400 billion fund to support bond market. And the last one, Royal Decree authorizing Bank of Thailand to provide loans to financial institutions totaling 500 billion baht to small and medium-sized enterprises.
So this will represent probably the biggest borrowing by the state in recent history. So a lot of questions have been raised as to whether or not there will be a mechanism that will make sure that this money will be spent wisely and will spend in areas that this kind of money is most needed.
Yes. In the beginning, the parliament speaker would allow for only 3 days for this debate, but finally they agreed that they will allow for up to 5 days for the opposition camp to scrutinize these 3 royal decrees, and they will try to have check and balances on the use of big amount of the money of the budget.
Yeah. And let's take a look at the points being raised by the opposition in questioning the merits of these 3 bills. Of course, I mean, the opposition will also take this opportunity to question the government on the wisdom of continuing the state of emergency. And the opposition MPs, in fact, have been questioning the effectiveness of all these shutdown measures introduced by the government because they believe that it's the medicine that is more harmful than the disease. So that means that the shutdown measures are hurting the economy more than the virus itself. Yeah. So that's certainly that will be one major point that the opposition politician will be raising in the debate.
And the second issue, opposition camps would like to raise whether state of emergency is being used as a tool to silence critics, because right now they would like to advocate for the point of perhaps the government is using the state of emergency beyond the suitable, or beyond the point.
Yeah, and the opposition MPs have also been raising concern that the borrowing amounting to 1.9 trillion baht will swell the country's public debt to over the ceiling of 60% of the GDP set by the Finance Ministry Fiscal Sustainability Framework. So they are quite concerned about that possibility of the country being buried in debts that the next generation will continue to have to repay.
Yeah. And the next point is no mechanism to ensure transparency in spending. That's why they really need time to scrutinize on how the government is going to spend all the budget to help relieve COVID-19.
And of course, the decree that will authorize the Bank of Thailand to buy bonds from corporations that have problem in rolling over the bonds that mature has raised concern with the opposition, who expressed concern that there could be favoritism. I mean, if the measure is not going to be sort of effectively monitored. So these are some of the concerns raised by the critics. And in 5 days of debating, Kunatha, we can certainly expect the opposition to go beyond what they have officially listed as the points of the talking points, right?
Yes, of course. They will try to do the most, and we should see what would be the game or allotment of the time for the debate for each representative, each MP from opposition camps. And in this debate, Kun Thepchai, Chief Opposition Whip Kun Sutin Klangsang, also said that while the opposition agreed in principle with the decrees, the debate was necessary with regard to transparency and accountability. So that's what the Chief Opposition Whip has to say for the situation.
No, I think it's certainly a welcome move for the opposition to raise these questions, their concerns, because we are talking about a massive amount of money that the government will be borrowing and using in finance this rescue package in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. And of course, we certainly need some mechanisms to make sure that the money is wisely spent and it goes to the right groups of people who deserve it. And of course, we all know that the opposition and the governments do not see eye to eye on most of the issues concerning the pandemic or the ways that the government has been handling the pandemic. The government has been insisting that the current state of emergency is still essential in dealing with the problem. But the opposition, speaking certainly on behalf of many quarters of the society, has concerned that the power has been abused largely not to solve the problem of the pandemic, but to silence critics of the government. And they claim that one of the reasons why people cannot express their views openly on political issues is because they are afraid of the penalties under the state of emergency. So in this coming debate, starting this Wednesday, I'm sure that the issue of the state of emergency will feature quite strongly or prominently in the 5 days of talk.
And the implication of the scrutiny of the 3 royal decrees. After this, during the second half of our program, former Finance Minister Kun Thirachai Phuvanat Naraduban will be joining us so he can talk about the policy, the implications of these royal decrees and how the opposition camp will scrutinize all the decrees.